Hey guys, it's Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. This is the long-awaited part 3 of appraisals from a picking deal I did quite some time back. The pandemic situation around the world has shut a lot of things down, and it's also closed my shop, so I haven't been getting through as much stock as I normally do, and I need to get back to this deal because I know you guys are waiting for this next part. So there's some links. I'll put all the links underneath for the original picking trip where we rummaged around for the whole day and filled the ute and trailer, and then there'll be links to the part 1, part 2 of the appraisals. So we'll scan through this lot. This will be part 3, as I mentioned, and I'll give you a look at what I found, what we're going to do to each thing to make it saleable, and what I think it's worth. Alright, we'll start from this front corner. These two items are cast iron boot lasts. They're basically like a cobbler's anvil for repairing shoes in the old days. They're very common items, regardless of the fact that you see them on eBay sometimes for like $60 or $70. They're not worth that. They are very common, but they are quite popular. They make great doorstops. These ones are undamaged, a little bit rusty, but all I'm going to do with these is just give them a quick clean up with some coarse steel wool, and I'm not going to do anything else with them. I'm not going to paint them or anything, and they'll go in the shop, and I'll put $15 each on those, so we'll get 30 bucks the pair there. Now, another piece of rusty metal. I always grab these old hooks and pulleys. They look fantastic hanging off an old ladder in the shop. This one actually still turns even though it's been lying in the dirt for a while. Same deal with this as with the boot lasts. I'll give this a quick scrub up in water with just some coarse steel wool, maybe a wire brush just to take some of the flaky stuff off, and we'll hang that off the ladder, and I might be able to hang something else off the hook. But that's a fair size, that one. It's probably 10 inches or so, nearly a foot long, and I think we'd probably put $30 on that. It's quite an old hook, so yep, that was a good find. 30 bucks there. Now this is an old dash. I'm not totally sure what model. You guys who are into your old cars will probably know straight off. But look, car parts are always popular. I always grab old car parts. This one's obviously been lying around for a long time. The wiring's shot. There's a little bit of wildlife. There you go. Off you go, fella. But look, it's not badly rusted out. The glass isn't broken. The dials themselves, the gauges, probably look like they're going to be in pretty good condition behind there. So I'll clean this up a little bit. I'm not going to restore it. I'm not going to go to too much trouble. The car guys pretty well like to get things as they are and restore them themselves. Silly for me to put a lot of work into it when the right guy would probably pay similar money with just the dust brushed off. So I'll clean up a little bit. I will do a bit of checking on what I think that one's worth. I'm not too sure. I would guess it, I don't know, $50, but I'll give you a figure once I do a bit of checking. So didn't find too many other car parts, unfortunately, because I do like them. Now these are cast iron. They're obviously supports of something, and unfortunately one's broken. They're very heavy. They're probably 2 foot, 2.5 foot long, and this one has had the ornate part broken off it. So it looks like it was a bracket of some sort, and I don't know if you can get a full appreciation for it just with this camera shot, but these are always worth grabbing just because people will upcycle them into something, who knows what. I just had a quick look at them and really can't repair the bit that's broken, but I could actually cut both of them off there, and we've got a nice barley twist support for a project. They've got bolt holes at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just give them a quick clean up. I don't have an immediate use for them, but I reckon we'll put them in the shop for $20 the pair, and someone will snap them up for some project. So that's pretty cool. I like those things. Old cast iron. It's probably early 1900s. I wonder what it's off. I'm not totally sure. Could have been off some very early platform scales, although you normally only see one. Don't know. If you've got any idea, leave a message underneath. Moving on now to this old timber box. It's a military box. There was quite a bit of military stuff at this place. And there is a badge on the top. And I'm not sure if that's going to help you read that or not. Looks like it says Signal Corps chest. Not totally sure. But it'll be World War II era. It's dovetailed on the corners. And I think around here we can actually see a date. It would have been 45, I think. So, USA. So it's got the handles on it. Actually, that looks like 57. So, anyway, it's probably World War II or just after. It's missing one of the latch assemblies, and unfortunately, it had been left in the weather. And it is empty, although it's got some compartments. I'll get the thing open one hand. You can see it's quite grotty inside. And the lid has a couple of fold-out sections which have really nice little latches to operate. And that's quite clean in there. But the other one actually doesn't move. The hinge is damaged or it's rusted. And here we go, we might be able to make something out here. You can stop the video if you want to read that. It looks like some sort of equipment. But regardless, its value mainly is that it's a nice vintage box. I always grab these timber boxes of any sort. I always grab. They look great in the shop. People repurpose them for all sorts of uses. I think I might take this section out. Oh, I don't know. No, I might just give it a wash out and sell it as it is. Someone can then sort out what they want to do with it. I was thinking of actually saving these nice brass latches. But we won't worry. We'll sell it as is. With a wash up, I'll probably put $20 on it. And someone may just purely use it for decorative purposes, or they might gut it out and actually use the box for keeping something in, like boxes were designed for, I guess. But it was worth grabbing. Did I say a price? Probably about $20. Alright, we'll move on. This one is another army one. This is a tin box, and unfortunately this had been left out in the weather for a long time too. But it has got old valves in it, which is really cool. So it's obviously something to do with an army radio. Reception set, Australia, and it's got all the valve numbers there. And I do recognise some of those valve numbers from normal valve radios. And some of the valves are still in here, as you can see. I don't know if they've been used or not. But it's a pretty cool little box. But I'm not sure what's gone on here. It looks like there was some sort of foam packing and it's all melted. And it's all set. It looks really gooey in there, but it's actually set solid. And these parts are kind of cemented in. So again, with this one, I might actually just sell it as is. Just basically wipe the dust off the outside and sell it as a World War II era army box, or, you know, valve spares for an army receiver or something. The box itself isn't damaged. And given that it's got valves in it, I think I'll put 30, maybe 35 on that one. And look, it'll make a great display in the shop, if nothing else. And that's it just may end up as in someone's military collection as a display piece. Or there's a chance that some radio buff could even use the valves. Anyway, happy to grab that sort of stuff. It's not things you find every day. Now, one more box. A nice big timber crate. When I say big, it's probably 18 inches square. It again dates to the 50s. If we look upside down on that, it looks like 58. Don't know if it was military, but it's great old timber. And this one actually wasn't in the weather. It's just obviously aged a bit, but really good solid box. And obviously they've kept pump parts in it. I use these quite often in the shop, just purely as shelves, just to put things in. Sometimes they're not even for sale because they just really add to the character of the shop. So all I'm going to do with that one is give it a wash out with a hose, and that's a $20 box every day. Now we have some Kitchenalia. We'll get to that next. A couple of nice vintage tins here. The old Streets ice cream. The lid's in great condition in this one. A little bit of a rub to the top, but otherwise quite good. no dents, just needs a wash up. And same with this McRobinson's chocolate assortment tin. These are a very common tin, and the ice cream tins do turn up quite often too, but they're not always in that good condition. And even this tin, it's pretty good. Nice and good colour around the sides, it hasn't faded, a little bit of dent at the front there. But all they need is a quick wash up. They're quite clean inside, and $10 each, no problems at all. They probably date to the 1960s. They're certainly not rare, but they sell quite well. Now we have a big wooden bowl here. I think I featured this when I found it on my original picking video. Not overly exciting. I only grabbed it because it's nice and undamaged and it will wash up great. It's quite heavy, so it's not one of those modern monkey pod wood ones. It looks like it's been home turned, and it possibly even sat on a pedestal, perhaps not. Could have done. But anyway, that'll wash up well. I'm not sure on the timber. It may be a red gum. It's got plenty of weight to it. So easy $10. I might even go 15 on that, depending on how well it cleans up. Bit more kitchen stuff. We have a coffee grinder. Not an antique one. It's probably 1970s, judging by the anodized aluminium top there. But it's quite clean. Really no issues with this. It certainly has a 70s look with the kind of press studs around it. Felt on the base. Appears to work alright. That just needs a wash up. We'll put $20 on that, no problems. Next kitchen piece is an old Hot Point electric jug. Nice seeing the original transfer still in good condition there. The Bakelite lid is fine. It's even got the cord in it, which looks like an electrocution waiting to happen. Sometimes I don't even include the cords when I sell these because I'm really selling them as a decorative item. In fact, if we look at the element in there, it's had it. So I won't put the cord in with it. I'll sell it just purely as a collectible. Quite common, these ones. It's a nice shape, but the electric jugs you really want to look for as far as dollars go are the multicolored ones with blue speckles or brown speckles, and sometimes you can even get them with a face on them. They're the ones that bring much better money. So this one, look, because it's got the Hot Point transfer on it, it will wash up fine. I'm going to put $20 on that. Just looks great in the kitchen room. A few more kitchen items. We have a teapot, which I think we had in one of the other videos, and a large aluminium kettle. Very, very dirty. Not big bucks here, but I usually grab these because they sell well. Teapot's got a couple of dents, but it'll wash up okay. If it was a lot cleaner and straighter, I would put probably 20 on it because it's a nice design on this one. It'll be a swan teapot, I think. I'm sure it is, we can't read it. I'll just put 10 on that, just give it a quick wash and put 10 on it, given that it's a bit dented. And the kettle, look, large kettles usually sell very well. The trouble is with the aluminium ones, they quite often leak or they sort of corrode through, and this one's had an old-fashioned patch on it, so there's a good chance that it's going to leak. I'm not even going to test it, I'm just going to give that a wash up. I've got a whole box of old saucepan lids. I'll just find a lid to fit it, and it's going to be more a decorative piece than actually being used. A camper might buy it and want to use it, in which case it probably doesn't even matter if it weeps a little bit of water. But I'll put, look, if I find a lid for it, I'll put $15 on it. Otherwise just 10, and someone can grow a plant in it. Now the last kitchen piece here is a large stove. Well, it's not overly large for a stove, but it's a larger piece here. Beautiful speckled enamel top on it. See that it's chipped at the front there, but really nice look. These are kind of a tile. I don't think they're heating. I think they were just tiles to rest something on, and obviously that one's cracked. The oven door is really cool, and it's called a Vita Heat. 240 volts, 2000 watt, I would imagine. Model number 2. Really nice Art Deco handle. A little rusty on the shelf, but inside looks pretty good. Yeah, it's actually not in bad condition. Original knob here. And given these old things were wired so with such high grade wire, like they were a heavy gauge, and usually nothing really goes wrong with them. There's a fair chance I could plug this in and the thing would actually work. But I don't see the point in it really. No one's going to use it to heat their pies in it. It's more a decorative piece. So I'm going to just wash it up with the hose. I'm not going to plug it in. I'm going to put a tag on it saying probably unsafe and just sell it as is. And I might just try and straighten it. There's a little bracket underneath, and straighten those tiles up. It'll look a lot better. And that'll look fantastic in the kitchen room to dress up with old kitchen things like the kettle. So there you go. Value wise, I'm going to put 50 on that one, purely because you just don't see these every day. It could certainly be restored if someone was keen to. It's not rusted out. It really just needs a good wash up. Original badges are there, original knobs. I reckon it's a $50 piece. So alright, that's just about it for this deal. There was one other little thing here, little brass tap, nice old one. I always grab brass taps purely because that's got a brand on the thing too. I have to clean that up. Purely because if nothing else, they add up for good money for scrap brass. But a tap like this, I'll put in the electrolysis tank and clean up. See, it's actually been used as a home for a wasp, so it's full of mud. But I'll clean that up in the electrolysis tank and we'll easily get $10 for that. So there you go. Next thing to do is to show you the price list from this part of the appraisals. And here we go with a list of prices as mentioned. Pretty well everything cleaned up really easily in this lot. It doesn't add up to as much as the previous at $355, as much as the previous two parts. It gives us a total of just over $2,000, which is not to be sneezed at. The best things price wise were the electric stove and the Bedford. It turned out to be Bedford truck, I think early 1960s or late 50s gauges. I could certainly put more on that. It's really just a matter of pulling a figure out of the air sometimes, but it looks great in the shop. So you can see this deal wasn't, or at least this part didn't include anything particularly valuable, just more quality, more quantity. But it all adds up. It's the old secret of volume. It's all really cool looking stuff to put in my shop. It's very interesting, I think. And yeah, we'll get part 4 happening soon. There's still quite a bit more to go on this deal. Hope you're enjoying the valuations. Leave some comments down below and give me some feedback if you like these sort of videos, and we'll keep going with them. See you in the next part.